The following episode of the Kingdom of Isolation contains footage from the film being discussed. The footage is used solely for the purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support the animators by watching this film on Disney Plus or home media where available. This episode also contains spoilers throughout.
Well, this is it. We're almost at the end of the F1 season. But I figured it's time to get one more race under our belts before season's end. So with that being said, hello my fellow Pixar fans and welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation, where in times of trouble, why not celebrate the magic of Pixar? And today we are concluding the Cars trilogy with Cars 3, which released in 2017. Now, as I said, we're almost at the end of the F1 season, and by the time this episode comes out, Max Verstappen has already wrapped up his 4th world title in Viva Las Vegas. Congratulations to Max from all of us here in the Kingdom of Isolation. In regards to this film, however, the first trailer for the film, it did not hold back. That trailer definitely piqued my interest. Too bad that's only one scene of the whole film, and we don't get anything as dark as this in the film. They really should have leaned more into the teaser trailer to really drive the point home that this ain't the kids. Despite this, it did have Cars critics interested in the film. Those that have been critical of the films, it definitely had them interested. Still, time to see what Lightning McQueen has to send off his career. Director Brian Fee, making his directorial debut with this film, has mentioned that the film is a love letter to racing and the American way. And it is inspired by the Americana you see traveling through the South, where every small town has a dirt track. The film has several references to the events of Cars 2. They include Doc Hudson's death, his medical office being converted into a museum, Lightning McQueen's newly installed headlights, an appearance from Jeff Gorvette at the final race of the movie, a picture of Miles' Axelrod in Sterling's office, oh, that doesn't bode well, and a television screen showing John and Nancy, the two cars in Paris, kissing. Oh, so cute and wholesome. Executive producer John Lasseter has teased that the film is a very emotional story, and a little bit more akin to the first Cars film. This film features more than 65 different individual races, more than the previous films combined. The first Cars film had 36, Cars 2 only had 11. At the Detroit Auto Show, Pixar revealed a life-size McQueen to promote the movie. NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon consulted the film's story by basing McQueen's struggles with the next gens on his experience about younger drivers outpacing him in the races. Also, the next gens are based on young Pixar interns who have the same creative touch as the Pixar crew. According to Brian, the Cars films have a look that separates them from the rest of the Pixar's library. While all of our films are stylized in their own way, the Cars films want to be more photorealistic, almost hyper-real. It's art-directed realism. With the technology we've implemented in the last few years, we have the ability to make these characters and sets feel more alive, feel more real and alive than ever before. This is a world we believe exists, says production designer Bill Cohn. It's familiar. The term we use is believability, which is the basis for everything we do. The world of Cars is built to accommodate its car-sized population. It is stylized. Now, we've played with some metaphorical elements. Cars can see themselves in nature the way man sees himself in nature. It's all done in a way that is relatable as it is compelling.
One winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. used to say that?
Yes, you did, Lightning. Yes, you did. Owen Wilson is back reprising his role as McQueen, as is Larry the Cable Guy as Mater. We were really intrigued by what happens to athletes who are in the twilight of their careers, according to Brian. All Lightning McQueen has ever wanted to do is be a champion, and he's done that. Does that mean his life is over? He doesn't know anything else. We get some archive footage from the late Paul Newman as Doc Hudson. In June 2017, Entertainment Weekly reported that during the voice actor recording process for Cars, director John Lasseter spent a lot of time in the recording booth with Paul Newman, who often regaled him with stories about his life and his many years as a race car driver. Lasseter said, in a way, he mentored me in racing because car racing was his true passion, life's passion. And I made sure that whenever he came to the recording booth, we were recording everything. In between takes, he would tell me stories about great races, and you could hear the passion in his voice. Those recordings made it possible for Doc Hudson to reappear in this movie, released over 8 years after Newman's death. Lasseter explained, as we started Cars 3, we went back to every recording we did on Cars 1 and catalogued and listened to it all, and ended up with a lot of material that we could use. Lines that were cut from the original film and never used, as well as some of those pieces from in between takes. Paul was a big fan of racing and really knowledgeable, says producer Kevin Reha. I think we all learned a little about the sport from Doc Hudson.
Lightning's ready. This one's for you, Doc.
Fun montage to kick off the film, as well as a fun song.
Hey, Cal! Your blinker's on!
What? No, it's not. Hey! Your blinker's on.
Good comeback, Cal.
Those three definitely have fun together. Cal Weathers is voiced by the son of Richard Perry, Kyle Perry. Richard also reprises his role as the King, Strip Weathers, who has since become Cal's crew chief. Lightning's friends are Bobby Swift and Cal Weathers, which seem to be a nod to Ricky Bobby and Cal Norton from Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, which was released the same year that Cars came out, in 2006. Cal Weathers' name is also a nod to the actor Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed in the first 4 Rocky movies, and also provided the voice of Combat Carl in Toy Story of Terror. Multiple cars bear sponsors from the first film. Multiple cars that bear sponsors from the first film use different numbers. In Cars, the revolting racer used the number 84. In this film, they used the number 48. Vito Line had the number 61. Here, it has the number 24. Octane Gain had the number 58. And this time around, it has the number 19. The Easy Idle Racer used the number 51, but now it uses the number 15. Transberry Juice from 63 to number 6. And one of the new races is number 31, sponsored by Triple Dent Gum, the commercial that annoyed Dango in Inside Out. Now, there are 6 new sponsors for the race cars in this movie. Synergy, like Syner, capital G. Combustor, without E. Igniter, that's IGNTTR. Blinker, without the E. Triple Dent, and Carbon Cyber. In addition, 6 sponsors from Cars: Shifty Drug, Fiber Fuel, Sidewall Shine, Retread, Tacklemint, and the unnamed sponsor for Junior aren't sponsoring any cars in this film. We also have the Nitro Aid car with the number 28, possibly referencing 1928, the same year Disney made their first short involving released the groundbreaking animated short Steamboat Willie. Eventually, we get to the arrival of Jackson Storm, voiced by Armie Hammer, who's portrayed John Reed in The Lone Ranger, which was another box office bomb for Disney. Yikes. And has also appeared in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and the Oscar-winning The Social Network. Jackson just comes out of nowhere and wins the race. Time to meme this moment. Just for you, Ethan. All next-gen racers, including Jackson, sport the yellow rookie stripes on their rear bumpers, like Lightning McQueen did in his first season in the first Cars movie. Jackson Storm's team members are also squinting. This can be seen especially after he won his first race. This and their dark colors make them appear even more sinister. The names of many next-gen racers are never revealed. Jackson Storm epitomizes the next-gen racers, says Army, who voices the character. They're young, brash, and confident. Jackson Storm is newer and faster. He can calculate the drag coefficient on the spot. It's hard to compete with that. Some of the next generation racers' names are puns on cast members' names. For example, Chase Racelot is voiced by Chase Elliott.
Hang on, did you say meet or beat?
I think you heard me.
So Chick Hicks 2.0, but not as entertaining. Speaking of Chick Hicks, Walt Peterson is voicing him this time around, and Chicks is still as arrogant and narcissistic as ever.
I'm your host, former and forever Piston Cup champion.
We get it! You won the Piston Cup! That's like hearing Kurt Angle say that he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck every week on SmackDown. We get it!
Here to tell you how it happened is professional number cruncher, Miss Natalie Certain.
It's a pleasure to be here, Chick. And actually, I prefer the term statistical analyst.
Thanks for letting me keep the title number cruncher, Natalie. I definitely need that for TIR and VVR. She's voiced by Emmy winner Kerry Washington. Her best-known role is the Emmy-nominated Scandal as Olivia Pope. She's also been in Django Unchained and Save the Last Dance, as well as a handful of episodes on The Simpsons, because everyone's been on The Simpsons at least once. She was also Alicia Master in the Fantastic Four films. Was she the other half of Ben, who became Finn? Directing animator Jude Brownbill said that she's a confident, intelligent woman. Her movements are kind of sharp without feeling too weightless. There's not much flourish, yet she's still graceful. She's all about the facts, so she's focused and direct.
Unlike the veterans of yesterday.
What, old-timers like this guy?
Oh, we get it! We get it! We get it! We get it!
Well, if I'm certain of anything, Chick, it's that this season is about to get even more interesting.
And she's not kidding. More next-gen racers coming, meaning more veterans being fired.
Another easy win over old Kachow. Or should I say, Caboose?
Okay, Chick is just insufferable in this film. Refuses to let go of the past and will never stop bragging about beating McQueen. You nearly killed the king! Also, do not disrespect the great soldier that is Caboose from Red vs. Blue. Shock to the system for McQueen as Cal is retiring, hanging up his light years. In much the same way I decided to hang up my spikes and call it a day on my career in athletics. Part of me does miss the thrill of race day, but I'm happy with the career I've had. No point trying to tarnish that now. I decided when I was done, and that was the right time for that to happen.
Cal Weathers, he's hanging up his light years.
No comment on that either.
We had some good times together. I'm gonna miss that the most, I think.
Yeah, we all feel that way, especially after being involved in something for so long. Time for the final race of the season, the LA 500.
Hey, champ, where'd all your friends go?
Ah, good to see you again, Randy. His style of composing is just so recognizable. Last time we saw him was Monsters University, as a matter of fact. After a quick pit stop, Storm still gets ahead on track.
Listen, don't you worry, pal. You had a good run. Enjoy your retirement.
McQueen pushes himself too hard and then gives us a sight no one involved in racing should ever have to witness, whether it's on television or at the track itself, or worse, if you're one of the racers. That's a straight red flag. 4 months later, McQueen has been hiding in Doc's garage, rewatching the footage of Hudson having his accident and covered entirely in dust. McQueen being covered in dust at this point. We had to upgrade radiator springs a little. Bill Cole states also stating that the rest of the world will have the kind of detail we're capable of achieving now. So we needed to bring radiator springs into the same movie. Sally, voiced again by Bonnie Hunt, checks in on Lightning.
I don't want what happened to Doc to happen to me.
That's what I was worried about when illness and injury started plaguing me throughout my athletics career.
And don't let anyone tell you you're not working that primer, because, wow, I have never found you more attractive.
Okay, a bit on the front bumper. Roll with it. With that remark, Mater checks in and asks if McQueen is ready after Sally's pep talk. So, is he ready?
Yes, Mater, I am. I decide when I'm done.
That's what I did. Next stop, the Rusty's Racing Center. Mac has the directions. He's voiced again by John Ratzenberger. Do we have the films? So? Excellent. We're good to go. Too bad the song doesn't go on for longer, though. En route, Mac does give us a good dinosaur Easter egg as he drives past their farm. Mac's Jocko Flocko Party Supplies livery featured during the Demolition Derby as a tribute to Jocko Flocko, a rhesus monkey who served as a co-driver to racer Tim Flock in the early 1950s. Jocko's career lasted 8 races, including a win. Excellent. Jocko's career ended after the monkey got loose from his seat, became frightened, and began jumping on Flock. Flock, he was forced to pit, costing him the race victory and an additional $1,500. Lightning makes his way into the racing center where we get a great line from Guido.
Guido, can you believe them?
Paparazzi.
Rusty and Dusty revealed to Lightning that Rusty's has been sold in order to build the center. They also name-drop Sterling for the first time. Sterling is voiced by Nathan Fillion, who has a number of notable roles under his belt, including Firefly, Serenity, The Rookie, Percy Jackson, Deadpool and Wolverine, and has also got some video game credits, including Halo, Destiny, and Spider-Man 2.
Hey, Lightning, whatever you do, don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother!
I'll miss those two. McQueen then spots some of his career highlights hanging up, including those for his crew chief, Doc Hudson. Another thing to note is the jars of dirt being collected over the years as well. One of them for Fireball Beach, just outside the training center. We started with the size and shape of an airplane hangar, says Bill Cone, and we filled it with all the gadgets and tools a modern racer would want. Simulators, treadmills, a yoga room. The production designer says the facility was inspired by boutique manufacturers in Europe. Everything is unbelievably spotless, like a hospital. You could eat off the floor.
I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
Don't worry, I'll get to the Pirates films eventually. Gives me an excuse to talk about Hans Zimmer's amazing music again. It's been way too long since I've had Hans Zimmer on the show. Oh wait, no, it's not. I had his music for Cool Runnings. Yeah. McQueen gets a fresh look, which can track his speed and vital signs. We're then introduced to Cruz Ramirez, voiced by Cristela Alonso. She's appeared in an episode of Sons of Anarchy, as well as the Angry Birds movie the year before Cars 3 came out in 2016.
Who's the racer?
No. She's not a racer. She's a trainer.
Oh yeah, forgot to mention that part. She doesn't race. She just trains the younger racers. She's also the maestro of motivation. Could be one of my titles as well, for that matter. When Cruz Ramirez is training the new millennial cars on the treadmills, she plays music for one car to remind him of home and shows him a scene on the television. The scene is from Coco, and the car comes from Santa Cecilia, where Coco took place. And that is the first of 2 Pixar Easter eggs that are going to tease the upcoming release.
It's right in front of you. It's Lightning McQueen.
He's obviously an imposter.
Ooh, yikes. Someone's been playing Among Us. Didn't come out until 2018. Bother. A very unorthodox style of training for McQueen. An aerobic style workout, music and all. McQueen is more interested in going onto the simulator. Day 3, and he ends up taking a nap. Been there. Now he needs to get to know his tires. More aerobics, and McQueen is beyond uninterested at this point. He decides to go onto the simulator, which ends well.
You have crashed. You have crashed.
Are you all right?
You have crashed.
That crash wipes out all the power to the center. McQueen waits outside Sterling's office, which also gives us Pixar's obligatory A113! His office also gives us a reference to Cinderella's carriage. Sterling shows McQueen the merchandising opportunities in his office.
You are about to become the biggest brand in racing.
Then the reality of the branding sets in for McQueen.
I'm not going to race you.
What?
Trying to claim he's a friend when in reality you're basically putting McQueen in the same position as Hudson, not allowing him to have one more chance to show that he still has what it takes.
Racing is the reward.
Thank you!
Don't get me wrong, having that comeback story to go for one more season would be nice. Again, I don't want to taint my retirement season. A deal is made where if McQueen loses, he'll sell all the mud flaps Sterling has, but if McQueen wins,
I decide when I'm done.
McQueen has to take Cruz with him to get preparations done.
Well, life's a beach, and then you drive.
You sure you don't mean the other thing? Oh, right, yeah, kids movie. The treadmill starts up with the ever-faithful Macintosh startup us 90s kids grew up with.
Oh, what about Hamilton?
Hamilton here.
Who's Hamilton?
Ah, yes. Lewis Hamilton, back once again. Spain had Fernando Alonso, while in Germany and Italy...
But here comes Sebastian Vettel!
One of my favourite lines of Crofty commentary. By the way, why does McQueen not know about Hamilton? They met in Cars 2 when Hamilton was voiced by Lewis. Oh, right. Cars 2 is not a canon event. McQueen can only top out at 198 miles an hour. Still slower than Storm. The training scene at Fireball Beach between Lightning McQueen and Cruz Ramirez is a tribute to the beach training scene in Rocky 3 between Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. He then gets the idea to head to Thunder Hollow, where there's a dirt track. The dirt track, however, turns out to be holding a demolition derby. McQueen is fully covered in dirt and sports the number 15 under the name Chester Whipplefilter. We then hear Thus Spake Zarathustra from 2001: A Space Odyssey, composed by Richard Strauss, as the derby is about to get underway. Here we see two more Pixar Easter eggs, the Pizza Planet truck and the Luxor Junior Ball, the latter of which is on the hood of one of the racers. Cruz is now in the race as well.
Rule number 1, gate closes, you race.
Wait, no, I'm not a racer.
All they have to do is be the last one standing. No pressure.
Hey, neither one of them has a single dent.
Oh, I'm gonna fix that.
Okay, now things are going to escalate very quickly. The name of the bus character is Miss Fritter, a likely reference to the teacher, Miss Frizzle, from the PBS animated series, Ride on the Magic School Bus. I'm convinced. Did I ever watch that show here when it was here in the UK? Did it ever make it to the UK? I don't know. One of the signs Miss Fritter has is the same West Cutting Boulevard sign that Andy has in Toy Story 3. Also, West Cutting Boulevard is the street Pixar is on. Producers Kevin Reha and Andrea Warren have stated that this isn't confirmed to be the last film in the franchise, and that if they'd do a fourth installment, if it will be better than the previous films, and it would consider making Cruz Ramirez as protagonist. Leah Delaria has also expressed interest in one of these days being able to reprise her role as Miss Fritter. Miss Fritter's racing number is 58, which is a reference to when her actress, Leah Delaria, was born, 1958. To achieve the right look and feel for the sequence. Filmmakers actually went to a night race that took place on a dirt track. They were covered in dirt, says Cohn, and it was inspiring.
Nice day for a drive, huh? Hey, buddy, get the out of my way!
Now that's creative censorship. Plenty of chaos as dents are made and carnage is caused on every level possible. McQueen and Cruz are still in the race until it's just them and Miss Fritter left.
It's Fritter time!
Yeah, this is not going to end well. She has license plates of everyone she's beaten. McQueen manages to get Cruz out of the way at the expense of not being able to get going, leaving Cruz as the winner. Yep, scratch that. McQueen's about to die. Oh, wait, never mind. McQueen gets going again. Fritter goes into the sign, and Cruz is the winner. Anything else? Are we going to have any other unexpected delays? No? Good. Let's continue. The water tank soaks McQueen. I'll see myself out. McQueen's identity is exposed, and he's
absolutely livid
at Cruz for some reason. Then he snaps, making Cruz aware that it's all over if he loses.
Every mile of this trip was to get me faster than Jackson Storm.
That trip to Thunder Hollow is on you. You can't blame Cruz for that one. That is on you. Eventually, Cruz has had enough after McQueen breaks her trophy. It's Cruz's turn to snap at McQueen.
Ask me if I got up in the dark to run laps before school every day. Ask me if I saved every penny to buy a ticket to the races when they came to town. Ask me if I did that so that I could be a trainer someday. Ask me.
She reveals she wanted to be a racer because of him. Well, don't you look stupid now, McQueen. Cruz heads back to the training center, and we are unfortunately graced by the arrogance of
Champion for the ages, Chick Hicks here.
All right, I get it!
Thanks, Plankton. When they are talking about Storm's chances of winning midway through, and give him a 95.2% chance. There's a subtle hint at McQueen coming in second place, and that he is number 95. The 95, of course, referencing the same year Toy Story came out in 1995. The odds for McQueen at only 1.2%. It's a nod to Cars 2, as his car number was he was car number 12. He was sporting the number 12 in the lineup. The Florida International Superspeedway is based on the Daytona International Speedway. Daytona! Daytona, USA! The most obvious reference being the logo etched in the infield just before the pit road. The first race of the season held there is called the Florida 500, a reference to the Daytona 500, the race that begins every NASCAR season. That 1.2% may be small odds, but still a chance. McQueen makes a call back home, and Mater gives him the idea to meet Smokey, who used to be Hudson's crew chief. Next stop, Thomasville. Mac and McQueen catch up to Cruz, and McQueen apologizes for causing tension between them, and he repairs the trophy before arriving at Thomasville. Dog's hometown is Thomasville, Georgia. Paul Newman, who supplied the voice of Doc Hudson, was married to Joanne Woodward until his death. She was also born in Thomasville, Georgia. Thomasville Motor Speedway is named after Herb Thomas, who drove the original fabulous Hudson Hornet. Doc Hudson's crew chief, Smokey, is named after Thomas's crew chief, Henry Smokey Yunick. Smokey calls Doc Hudson Hud. Paul Newman played the title role in Hud. Interestingly, Hud was also Doc's name in early drafts of the first Cars film. The Thomasville racetrack is based on the Old North Wilkesboro racetrack in northwestern North Carolina. Concept art for the film shows McQueen going for a drive on the track, which has now been restored. McQueen and Cruz have a lap on the track, and then they meet Smokey, voiced by Chris Cooper. The sign for Smokey's garage has the slogan, "The best dang garage in town," while Smokey Yunick's garage used the slogan, "The best damn garage in town." Chris has an Oscar to his name for adaptation. winning for Best Supporting Actor. He portrayed Jerry Vogel in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. He was uncredited as Norman Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's been in The Muppets, an adaptation of The Tempest as Antonio. Voiced Douglas in Where the Wild Things Are. Has also been in Remember Me, Jarhead, Seabiscuit. The first 2 Bourne films, Bourne Identity and Bourne Supremacy, the latter of which he was uncredited for. And the Oscar-winning American Beauty. Robert Redford, Paul Newman's real-life best friend and longtime co-star, was considered for the voiceover role of Doc Hudson's trainer and pit crew, Chief Smokey, as a way to bring proper closure to both Newman's and his character Doc's legacies, influences on the Pixar franchise before Chris Cooper was ultimately cast in the role when Redford was unavailable.
I know why you're here. You're thirsty.
And I already like him. Off to the bar for this trio. The guitar of Ernesto de la Cruz can be seen hung on the wall behind the band, playing at the Cotter Pin Bar in Thomasville. One of the 2 teasers for Coco. The other teaser being the music and scene shown to one of the cars while Cruz is training the other racers at the Rust-eze Center earlier. Doc grew up in Thomasville. He actually raced his first race there, says art director Noah Klosek. We took research trips to the South where NASCAR got its start, spending some time in northern Georgia and South Carolina. Cruz and McQueen meet some legend racers when they get to the bar, and we get treated to a great rendition of Bruce Springsteen's Glory Days.
She's an angel.
And of course, Luigi would say something like that. The legends who raced with Hudson share some stories with McQueen and Cruz, which I love. Gives Hudson some more depth to his character, even if he's gone.
Of course, the fellers in charge didn't like the idea of a lady racer showing them up.
Looking squarely at the direction of those who say women cannot be sports athletes. Young girls out there need these athletes as role models. Examples, the women gladiators here in the UK. My personal favorites, Fury, Dynamite, Diamond, Saber, Athena. You've got Comet, Electro, and Fire. Fire is actually one of the contestants on Strictly here right now at time of recording, which is the UK equivalent of Dancing with the Stars for our friends stateside. Jamie Chadwick, Bianca Bustamante, Abby Pulling, Emma Raducanu, Alex Morgan, Bon Matti, Putelis, Oberdorf, the Lionesses, hello! Just to name a few. Smokey then gives us a bit of foreshadowing with a little trick Hudson had in his arsenal.
But Hud never touched anyone unless he wanted to.
McQueen then confides in Smokey, asking for his help.
What happened to Doc will happen to me.
Smokey shows McQueen that Hudson coaching McQueen helped him find his love for racing again.
Racing wasn't the best part of Hud's life. You were.
Anyone started cutting onions in here? Because that is such a wholesome moment. The music also complements this moment beautifully. That and the flashbacks to Hudson enjoying coaching McQueen.
Lesson 1. You're old. Accept it.
You may not be faster than Storm, but you can be smarter than him. Sounds like my F1 League racing. Racing smart, not fast, taking advantage of one's mistakes.
Funny what a racer can do when he's not overthinking things.
Chris stands in for Storm and gives us this brilliant moment.
Oh, you're going down, McQueen. Get that arthritis-riddled keister onto the track so I can put you into the old folks' home against your will.
Do not mess with Cruz Ramirez. Everyone's reactions are just priceless. Mine would be the same. It's montage time, and McQueen has 3 laps to catch Cruz. No pressure. This is definitely up there as one of my favorite training montages. One of my favorite moments is Sneak Through the Window, where Cruz and McQueen have to try and get through a herd of tractors.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles away.
I put McQueen in there. Give you some real competition.
That's what's happening with Storm. Training's going better for McQueen.
All right, Guido, turn up the heat.
Okay.
Classic training montage trope. Everything going well so far? Good. Let's turn up the heat. Later, they go for a drive in the woods. One catch, though.
By the way, no lights. Instinct only.
During the scene, the updated look on McQueen sheds off and his OG livery is back for all to see. Randy Newman always delivers with the music for moments like this. Time for one last shot to catch Cruz before heading to Florida. Oh, and by the way, because McQueen missed qualifying, he's starting at the back of the grid. He manages to pass Cruz, but she gets back ahead, giving him flashbacks to what happened at the end of last season. Off to Florida we go for the first race of the season. Bob Costas and Daryl Waltrip are back to voice Cutlass and Cartrip. Such a great dynamic duo.
Speed. I am speed.
Wow, for the first time, McQueen doesn't believe in himself during his race prep. Sally and Mater make it to Florida to be part of the crew for McQueen. And now comes the big moment. And I'm glad this is the version we got, because there was one deleted scene where even though a deal was in place, Sterling doesn't let McQueen race because of business. I've never liked Sterling, and this scene just makes you despise him all the more.
Oh, hey there, champ. I heard you're selling mud flaps after today. Is that true? Hey, you put me down for the first case, okay?
Now I hope Jackson Storm gets humbled today. We also have that one kid in the crowd that has never given up on McQueen, giving him that little boost he needed before the green flag drops, and we're ready to race.
To the future. Hey, champ?
You have Sterling as your crew chief?
Unacceptable!
Absolutely. Wait a minute.
Just focus on what you're here to do, kid.
Ah, good. He's got Smokey. I meant to ask earlier, where's the... I meant to ask earlier where the bandit was. Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, I'm definitely going to see myself out. Mwah! Good night, everybody!
Keep this up, you'll finish in the top 10.
Top 10's not gonna cut it, Smokey. I gotta go all the way.
Ah, Jacksepticeye would be proud of you for going all the way. We then start getting callbacks to the training McQueen has done with Smokey.
Cruz, what are you doing here?
Oh, Mr. Sterling, I was
I'd like you to head back to the training center right away.
Proof right there, Sterling only cares about business and not the passion that Cruz has for the sport.
But Mr. McQueen still has a chance.
Just go do your job.
Sterling, you go do yours. More flashbacks showing Cruz loving the thrill of driving and racing. A wreck occurs in front of McQueen, bringing out the caution and pace car. He then gets a light bulb moment.
Mr. McQueen?
Today's the day, Cruz. You're getting your shot.
Smokey then enlightens the stubborn Sterling that it only has to be the number that's out on track, regardless of who wears it. Mater manages to distract Sterling long enough to allow Cruz to head out on track.
Why are you doing this? You said it yourself. This might be your last chance.
Which makes it my last chance to give you your first chance, Cruz.
She beats the pace car, and McQueen remembers what she taught the drivers in the training center. Smokey then lets McQueen take over as crew chief to help Cruz through the rest of the race. Storm's not concerned about Cruz, even though she's kind of fast approaching him. He then decides to slow down.
That you can play dress up all you want, but you'll never be one of us.
McQueen then tells Cruz that she got into his head. We reach the last lap and Storm snaps, forcing Cruz into the wall before she pulls off Hudson's trick.
You don't belong on this track!
Yes, I do!
Cruz then wins the race. The crowd start cheering for her.
Go ahead. Give him some smoke.
She'll get used to that. And then something amazing happens. It's not just Cruz's name on the board. McQueen's name is there too. But how?
Why is my name up there? You started the race.
Now Sterling can get out of our lives. Tex buys Rusty's. Cruz is with Dynaco, wearing Hudson's number. McQueen is wearing Hudson's colors and is now the fabulous Lightning McQueen.
I made that Sterling fella a Texas-size offer.
Everything is bigger in Texas after all. McQueen's now Cruz. This is a tongue twister. McQueen is now Cruz's crew chief, and they have an exhibition replicating the photo of Doc and McQueen to end off the film. This was Daniel Gerson's last Pixar film. He died during production over a year before the film's release. The film was dedicated to his memory. Rest in peace, Daniel. The credits include many posters and signs from other Pixar films throughout the movie. One of these includes B&L, by and large, which is the company in WALL-E. I would definitely say this is a far better film than Cars 2. But let's see what the scores say. The story gets a 9. It is so much better than the second film in terms of story, especially when you get to focus on just racing and the passage of time between the first film and now, where the landscape of racing has definitely changed a lot. And the landscape of racing is just going to continue changing as the years progress. The characters get an 8. This is mainly down to the one-dimensional Jackson Storm and how insufferable Chick Hicks is. We get it. You won the Piston Cup. You beat Lightning McQueen. We get it. I really wish it was Michael Keaton voicing him again. That would have made him. I might have bumped it up to possibly an 8.5, maybe a 9. Anyway, because Michael was involved in Spider-Man: Homecoming as the Vulture, he wasn't available. The visuals, they get a 9. When you focus on just the racing rather than having a spy movie, you can definitely appreciate the visuals more this time around, especially heading to places like Thomasville. The soundtrack definitely gets a 10. Newton delivers once again. Not much else I can say beyond that. And now, the legacy. This was tricky to score. So, the film grossed $200 million in less than a month, and it ended up with a worldwide total of only $383 million. Especially when you consider that the film had a budget of $175 million. So, yeah, kind of bombed at the box office, which is not what you're wanting. It only got 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the general consensus reading, Cars 3 has an unexpectedly poignant story to go with its dazzling animation, suggesting Pixar's most middle-of-the-road franchise may have a surprising amount of tread left. It got 2 Annie nominations, but no wins. Only 2 nominations, and it bested Toy Story 3 and Finding Dory's record of 3 nominations, which at the time was the lowest number of nominations that any Pixar film had had. Tied, Finding Dory and Toy Story 3 were tied. Cars 3 then beating that. No Oscar nominations, not even for Best Animated Film. Same with the Golden Globes, no nominations there. 2 Teen Choice Award nominations, Choice Movie Comedy and Choice Movie Actor Comedy for Owen Wilson. Both of those awards went to Finding Dory and Zac Efron for Baywatch, respectively. A Kids' Choice Award nomination for Favorite Animated Film, losing out to Coco, which will be the next episode here in the Kingdom of Isolation. In short, 0 awards at all for the film. While it isn't as fondly remembered as the first film, it is far better than Cars 2 overall. A possible 4th film on the way as well. You've also got the Disney Plus series Cars on the Road. There was also a tie-in video game accompanying the film's release. It was developed by Avalanche Software, which was shut down by Disney in 2016. but was acquired and revived by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. This makes this movie the first Pixar film to receive a video game adaptation for traditional video game consoles, not counting mobile games as well as Lego Incredibles, since Brave in 2012. The score, we have given it 85%, which does put it ahead of The Good Dinosaur, but still at the bottom of, still basically at the bottom of the scoreboard. It's ahead of The Good Dinosaur and Cars 2, but it is behind A Bug's Life. Overall, much better than Cars 2, but not as memorable as the first film. I'd still recommend watching it, especially if you're a fan of, especially if you love racing like myself. So that is it for this episode of The Kingdom of Isolation, looking at Cars 3. If you enjoyed this episode, you can hit the thumbs up, and if you want to be part of The Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live. The next episode is going to be on Coco, and I have managed to find myself a quicker way of editing videos. But until then, folks, I'll see you guys next time in The Kingdom of Isolation.